FRBM, Act 2003 is a cornerstone of India's economic policy. It was enacted to institutionalize financial discipline, reduce the country's fiscal deficit, and ensure long-term macroeconomic stability. For competitive exams, it is crucial to understand its evolution from a rigid target-based law to the modern, fiscal glide path approach used in 2026. 1. Origin and background. Enacted August 2003 during the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government. Effective from July 5, 2004. Purpose: to address the high fiscal stress of the late 1990s. The Act made it a legal responsibility for the central government to ensure intergenerational equity in fiscal management. 2. Key features and mandates. The Act requires the government to lay 3 specific strategy statements before Parliament every year along with the Union Budget, Macroeconomic Framework Statement, assessing the growth prospects of the economy. Medium-term Fiscal Policy Statement, setting 3-year rolling targets for fiscal indicators. Fiscal Policy Strategy Statement, explaining how the current budget aligns with long-term targets. Key rule. Under Section 5, the Act prohibits the central government from borrowing directly from the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, effectively ending the practice of monetizing the deficit, printing money to fund debt, except under extraordinary circumstances. 3. The N.K. Singh Committee, 2016-17, to modernize the Act, a review committee was formed under N.K. Singh. Its major recommendations became the new FRBM framework. Debt as primary anchor, suggested that debt to GDP ratio should be the primary target, 60% total, 40% for center, 20% for states. Fiscal Council recommended creating an autonomous body to advise the government and monitor non-compliance. Escape clause, formally defined triggers, like war, national calamity, or a sharp fall in GDP, that allow the government to breach deficit targets by up to 0.5%. 4. Current status and targets, 2025-2026, following the massive fiscal expansion during the pandemic, where the deficit hit 9.2%, the government moved away from the fixed 3% target toward a fiscal glide path. Indicator. Target, actual, free 2025-26, goal for 2026-27. Fiscal deficit 4.4%, achieved, 4.3%, budget estimate, revenue deficit 1.5%. 1.5%. Central debt 56.1% of GDP. 55.6% of GDP. Medium-term goal 4.5% by FY26, met, reach approximately 3.5% by 2030-31. 5. Important interrelated facts for exams. Fiscal slippage, a term used when the government fails to meet its deficit targets. Fiscal marksmanship, the accuracy of the government's forecasts, comparing budget estimates versus actuals. Crowding out. The FRBM Act prevents crowding out, a situation where high government borrowing leaves no money in the banks for private businesses to borrow. Article 293. While the FRBM Act covers the center, Article 293 of the Constitution gives the center power to limit the borrowing of state governments. The escape clause in action. In March 2026, the government continues to use the flexibility provided by the 2018 amendment. While the 0.5% deviation rule exists, the current strategy is a debt-stabilizing path rather than a rigid return to the old 3% limit, allowing for continued high capital expenditure, CapEx, on infrastructure.